Good morning, good afternoon, good night. I'm Blackbright, broadcasting out of the UK around the globe. And today I'm going to be asking you, do you know what immigration status you have? A lot of us take it for granted. For those who came over with their parents between 1973 and 1983, you need to look at your passport. Find out what your status is. Because after 1973, the rules changed, and a lot of people don't know that. After 1973, parents who came over and had children, their children weren't automatically citizens unless they registered them. Did your parents know that? And I'm not talking about the birth certificate, because all mothers get the birth certificate at the hospital. So a lot of mothers probably thought, oh, I've got the birth certificate, that's fine. My child is a British citizen. No, need to be registered. If you've been flying in and out, it probably means you have an indefinite leave to remain, because they probably would have stopped you by now. But just double check, because there are different leaves to remain. There's an indefinite leave to remain, there's discretionary leave to remain, there's a limited leave to remain, there's leaves for asylum seekers, refugees, spouses, all kind of different visas. So just check, make sure your passport doesn't say anywhere no recourse to public funds, or it doesn't say that you can't work, or any of those little things in little small print. Just have a look at your passport and see what it says, because that will verify your immigration status. Now, that's that. If you've been here for longer than 5 years, and you've, well, say about 6 years then, and you've applied for indefinite leave to remain, you know what your status is. You know that you're settled, and there's not much more you need to do about that. And you know the limitations on your settled status. Limited leave to remain just means you are a resident, a permanent resident in the country. It doesn't mean that you're a citizen. It doesn't mean that you can't be booted out. And like I said, they say that those with British citizens can't be deported. It's a lie. Only British citizens born on the soil can't be deported, but naturalised British citizens can. You can more or less say they have the same or similar rights to those with indefinite leave to remain. So don't let the passport fool you, okay? So that's that. Some people say, me having a red passport, it don't mean squat. If you weren't born in the country, it doesn't mean squat. So that's that. Now, what about back in the 1980s, I think it was 1980s, we had an influx of Jamaicans and Nigerians marrying British women. And the British woman was so happy, them find man for marry them. Not like the Brits, like I say, they're just laid back. They take forever. Anyway, what was happening back then? You'd find the Jamaicans coming over, the Nigerians, whoever they were, whichever nationality it was, charming the pants off the British citizens and marrying them. But the thing is that they're so no foresight, some of them, because no sooner as they get the 2.5 years that they give you, half of them, they either go and try and bring their woman over from Jamaica, or they leave the woman and go on to find some other woman. They don't even wait 5 minutes, them gone. So I'm telling you. So anyway, they don't realise that the government gives them, some of them don't realise, gives them a 2.5 year discretionary visa. If you're still married after 2.5 years, you apply for an extension for a further 2.5 years. And after that, after you've done 5, 6, I think it's about 6 years, then you can apply for indefinite leave to remain. Then you have a status in the country. But, if you separate from that wife, or you divorce, you're supposed to tell the Home Office, because your visa was granted based on the spouse. If your visa was granted based on the spouse. Because, I mean, you could have come into the country with family or in a totally different reason, got your indefinite leave to remain, you've got settled status, you've met somebody who's British and you marry them, even though you're not born in the country. But at least you're legitimately in the country. And in that case, it doesn't really matter. But if you've entered or you've got your stay based on marriage and you haven't applied for that second extension, that second 2.5-year extension, your status is dodgy. In fact, you don't have a status. Because after the first 2.5 years, if you haven't extended that, they can boot you out if they find you. Okay, some people, they go from wife to wife, they leave one and go to another. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But basically, if it's the wife that they've got their visa on, they are supposed to tell the Home Office if that marriage didn't work. Now, somebody told me about a lady who got married to a gentleman out of the country. Well, he was a Jamaican. And if you saw the couple, she used to show me pictures and, you know, and I remember going to a party and everything was crisp and they looked really, and I can remember looking for a perfect match. I thought, you know, how can, you know, somebody from Jamaica make such a perfect fit with somebody from the UK? It looked idyllic. Anyway, they must have done the 2.5 years. Then they did the 5 years. Anyway, after the 5 years, this man started messing around, got caught calling some woman in Jamaica. Anyway, 6th year he got his indefinite leave to remain. Never even wait 2 minutes. Didn't even wait 2 minutes from him getting indefinite leave to remain. Chip. So that was a charade for 6 years. Can you imagine? 6 years there was that charade. Brought the woman over from Jamaica. I mean, they're living bad life. I mean, they had a house, they had everything when they were together. But you know what? He made her sell it so he could get his or remortgage it or whatever they did, so he could get his 50%. And he thought he'd had it made. It didn't work so. You can't do that to people. So I can understand how the government intervenes like that. Because a lot of people think the British people are stupid enough. Just because we are not demanding, or just because the majority of us are not demanding, the majority of us just go with the flow. We seem as though we're pretty easy, but we're not. We're kind of like the government. We're observers. We kind of just watch. We don't say nothing, you know. We just watch. When we've had enough, it's just like, listen, this can't go on. So, yeah. One thing you can say, the Brits ain't stupid. Might seem lenient, might seem easy, but we ain't stupid. So I think that was the impression that, well, I won't even say it. They used to say all the time, British woman's stupid. And so yeah, so I think because of that, they let their guard down. They behaved frivolously, and this isn't just Jamaicans. You know, this was Africans. You know, it was Caribbeans. It was the whole gamut, because you know, in the 1980s, the Africans and the West Indians were all marrying British people for their stay. There must have been something that went out that said, there's some British girls, they can't wait to get married because the British man who want to marry them. Come over, you will get your steer. I don't know if it's as calculating as that, but I'm not putting it up. That's the way it seemed. And, you know, at some point, I don't know which point it was, government intervened. They stopped the marriages. Now, if you marry a Jamaican, you have to go to Jamaica. He ain't coming here. Same with any other country. So you can marry them till the kingdom come. They're not coming over here to get you passed. Those days are done. So I don't know, all of this is to say, I don't know how many people who, how many men who married British citizens in order to get their stay know that they had to extend that visa. And if that marriage didn't last longer than 1.5 years, no, 2.5 years, did they know that they had to reapply for an extension? And if it didn't make the 5 years, did they know that they had to tell the Home Office that the relationship had broken down? Because those people, they're all a part of those ones that they're cleaning up. And when you have to apply for your EU passport or your EU driving license, they're going to nab you, love. They're going to get you. So, depending on how you came into the country and on what conditions you came into the country will determine your immigration status. So you need to check it out. Wish you luck. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.